Hi, Boopsies. Hi. It's me, Tony Bomboni, ASMR. Welcome to your session. Now, today's video is going to be a story time about my bad luck dating experiences. And I shouldn't say to begin with, that's just for the title of this video, that it's bad luck. But however, it still didn't work out. And I would like to think that it's not bad luck because it led me to here who I am today. And had I been with these individuals and grown up with them and gotten engaged or married, God forbid to them, things may have not panned out exactly as I would have planned. So, before this video begins, poopsies, be sure to subscribe and tap the notification bell. Share, add this video to your playlists. Like and comment. All right. So, let's get started. Okay, so I couldn't really think of many people for this because I haven't dated God knows how many people. I'm just going to go back to my earlier days, like in high school, because it was the most interesting. And it's just like a fun video. Like, I'm so over it. A long time ago. This was 11 years ago. I mean, like, obviously it doesn't bother me like anymore. The people don't bother me. It doesn't bother me to talk about it. Like, the recent dates I've had, even those don't bother me anymore, honestly. I mean, it's been so long, so. But this is just for fun, kind of like a story time. But there's two people I can think of right now. But I may mention more. So let's name the first one Johnny, okay? So I have Pepsi. I'm currently alone, so I'm in the other part of the house. I don't like pineapples, but I like the cup. Ice cubes. Shall I risk putting this on the floor? Nah, I put it up here. If any of you live in Florida, do you notice how windy it is lately? Anyway, so Johnny. No, Johnny. Okay, so I was like 14, he was 15, right? We met because he was a transfer, so he moved to from another school, and he lived like everywhere. Like, I think one of his family members was like those base people where they have to move, or Japan, Hawaii, whatever. So he had been in Hawaii. I think he had been in Omaha, Nebraska. I don't even remember. And I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, like, he was a very, very good friend, okay? But I don't know what I was thinking, because, like, Tony loves to just stir things or sabotage or unconsciously create some form of drama or something. So I wanted more with him than our regular old friendship, right? And it blows my mind because I wasn't even attracted to him at all, like in the slightest, but like either boredom or I don't know, like it's always boredom that causes me to sabotage things. Basically, we had started to get to know each other. We were like this. You could not separate us. I mean, we would literally, like, sometimes, as crazy as it sounds, like hold hands in the hallway just because, regardless of what people think, when we go to the park or whatever, like, we would just, like, peas in a pod, okay? And for some reason, part of my mind is always like wanting a relationship with someone, and no matter what friend I've had, I've always like sort of wanted to jump into a relationship with them, right? And ruin the friendship, instead of kind of letting it happen naturally. And I was always kind of a little, I don't know if I would say controlling in that department, but like it would almost be like if they didn't provide me what I wanted, what use and what friendship would we have anyway? So I didn't realize the importance of letting time pass. I was still 14, obviously, so it was like, and I've made this mistake even, growing up, but it was one of like the very first initial time I can remember that, and then repeating the cycle over and over again into my mid-20s. So, it came as a shock to him one day. Excuse me. I just had pizza. It was good. It came as a shock. We were just sitting in his motel room, and, he was like just living with his mom, and they were quite poor actually, and they could just only live in like a small, very, very small motel room. It was pretty old too. I mean, he was so old that after he moved, like 2 months later, they ended up like demolishing the whole motel. It was crazy. And I felt bad for him. I was like, oh, like he didn't necessarily get raised under the best circumstances, but it was still cool. He could like travel the world and like go live everywhere, like who cares where you live if you get to travel a lot, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't really care either, if somewhere is like a temporary home at all times, that'd be pretty freaking fun, okay? Than living in one place at all times. So, I mean, he was a very good kid, like a very good person, but then he just went like 360 overnight. I didn't recognize him, because we had started being intimate, right? And I don't know what I was thinking. I was like breaking down crying one day because I wanted a boyfriend so bad. Oh my God, boo-hoo, right? But secretly at the time, I was having a long distance relationship with, I can't even say, like, I don't even think I'm legally allowed to say, because it was kind of like a big deal at the time. But yeah, I think I've spoken about it before. Yeah, so basically I was like cheating, right? And that was back in my days when I was like lying, stealing, cheating, everything. I was like secretly a bad teenager, okay? A lion in lambskin, right? There was something, I'm trying not to touch my eyes because of this thing spreading. Y'all, you need to wash your hands, okay? I'm not crying. There's just something that is there that I'm trying. There we go. I got it. Those eye boogies. I don't want it sitting there the whole video and then you're staring at me like, oh, awkward. Let me see if there's another one here. Okay, no. Okay. We're good. Okay. Gotta prep my face before story time. Okay. So I don't know if the tea is hot because like the tea cooled down 11 years ago, but I'm still talking about it to make a fun, interesting video for you guys and do some soft spoken because I haven't done it in a very long time. Wearing my new R2. It's so fashionable. I showed it in a recent video. I love it. Yes. Okay. So, I was just broke down crying. We were like playing a game or watching TV on a small, like, it was literally one of those small box TVs. I mean, I'm telling you, like, this kid and his mom, like, God bless their heart though, but like they like had no money to spare, like she was working like all the time and to support that kid, and I just felt bad for him, okay? But you gotta do what you gotta do. And how did it go? Yeah, we were watching TV as friends still, and then suddenly, like, I don't know, like he just sat next to me or something, or I don't even remember to this day, like who started touching whose lap. But I just like broke down crying because I got emotional, right? And I guess I wanted the intimacy and whatever, and it was kind of weird position because I felt like I was asking for it, like begging for it, but at the same time, he kind of wanted to, but he was resisting and kind of pushing me away. And then he just decided to do it. And he's like, fine. And then he kissed me. And then I didn't feel anything at first. Like, that was the first time I kissed a guy. And then after that, he did it again. And again and again. And I was like, oh, I really like this, you know? And we couldn't stop making out, like, profusely. Like, it went on for, like, probably hours because it was our first time. And we really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed ourselves. We really enjoyed our time. Excuse me. So, I don't know. I used to not be so comfortable talking about these topics. It can be kind of like sexy, but you know, I'm getting more in touch with my sides, my feminine, my masculine, my sexuality more, and I don't feel not comfortable to share anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm more open-minded than before, and getting in touch with that side, because I feel like my audience has grown up. They've grown with me through the years, and now you guys are in your 20s, 30s, and we can talk about this stuff without feeling the need to be ashamed. Obviously, some videos and topics are still for, like, people who, you know, maybe younger, they don't want to hear, you know, they don't have to listen or click or whatever. But if y'all still want to listen, click, fine. But I don't know if this video's meant for you exactly, but yeah. And I don't know why everyone's so like, oh, like, I'm so ashamed to talk about that, you know. Like, I've always been pretty open, even with the guys I've been with, you know, like, I don't know, like, it's not something I hold back on normally. I'm usually the first to initiate, the first to flirt, the first to everything. Like, it's almost too much. Like, I'm almost over sexual, you know, in a way. I mean, some people don't like it, you know. I'll find the one day, but in the meantime, you know, I'm not ashamed to show that. And so, yeah, I've even gotten a lot of times from just guys I was talking to on a regular basis. They were like, oh, you know, I wish we kind of toned it down a bit and did less of, you know, and I'm just like, you know, I didn't really get it. I didn't really connect with it. I was like, you know, what's wrong with what we're doing now, you know? But I guess some people like to connect more in conversation, which I do too, but there's a healthy, fine balance, you know? If it's like 99% conversation, then I can't do that, you know? Like, maybe 90% and then 10% sexy time. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I don't like to do it far and few between is hard for me personally, because I feel like I'm holding back a lot of showing my emotion and affection to my partner, my loved one, you know? So, I like to show that, you know, like, there's different sides and parts of each other, and we allow that to open up in front of our partners, right? So it's a beautiful thing, you know, and nothing to be ashamed of. And, you know, with age, you get more and more comfortable with it, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't care what people think. And I mean, I've even done that with friends before, like walking around naked and stuff. Like, they've all seen me, all my friends have seen me like naked. Like, I could care less. I mean, like, that's just who I am, you know. And if you're like close enough with me, you know, it's cool. So, and I think I opened that up in other people. But anyway, regardless, airplane. So after that, like, I would secretly go after school just to see him and just, like, you know, hang out with him. Let's be honest, make out with him. Okay. And, like, I couldn't stop thinking about him, you know. I couldn't even focus on my homework because I was like, oh my God, this is the first guy I was ever with. You can imagine tons of things, hormones running through your head, everything. And puberty on top of that, it's like everything goes wild at that time in your life, from 11 to 16, you know. And you're angsty and you're hasty and you're anxious ridden and you're depressed and you're still growing and learning, and you think you know everything, but you don't. And I was like mad all the time. I had so much built up anger about a lot of things, and I thought I was ready, and in reality, I wasn't even a speck close to being ready to even start my life. And life doesn't truly begin until, like, I mean, I'm starting to believe that now, probably after 30, because, you know, you're still figuring. It takes so long to build from the ground up and build your life and figure things out. And, like, you don't realize how young you are still, you know. Most people don't really feel settled until after 40, 50, even 60. Like, it takes so long to build a life for yourself. It really does. Because earth living, it's hard, guys. Life can be hard. And it just have its challenges, but you gotta be so strong, and sometimes you fall. And anyway, off a tangent. So I was, instead of going on the bus, you know, the bus driver, usually they mark who comes on the bus. And I had stopped going the last couple, 2, 3, 4 days, I think. And I think they grew suspicious because they're supposed to check if you've safely boarded and go home. Because I've been going like for 2 months straight at that time. It was like October, no, 3 months, November. It was before Thanksgiving. We had been doing this in secret and not telling anyone from school, because at that time it was still looked at, like, to be gay is like, oh my gosh, you know. And I had lost a lot of friends when they found out. I can't believe it, like 11 years ago, like how ignorant-minded we still were. But at the same time, we were still very young. And when you're that young, your parents are still telling you, like, for the most part, like, you know, God said it's not okay, whatever. You know, I'm not against anyone's particular belief, but it's that, a belief, nothing more. And it's just shocking how much things have changed, life has changed. Yeah. So I would probably be shamed for even doing this video like 10 years ago. Can you believe that? Anyway. Things started to change. There was this other friend we had who was also like best friends with me and with him, with Johnny. And so any little thing or drama that happened between us, she would find out as well. And all of a sudden, like, if maybe, I don't know, example, I don't remember at this point, it was too long ago, but if I did something bad, he would end up telling her, and now it's like I'm not friends with her anymore because she's siding with him. Or if he did something bad, I tell her, now she's siding with me and she doesn't want to talk to him. Like, it was a weird 3-way friendship that was so, like, jaded. I don't know. And things started going south when he wanted to see me less. He didn't want his mother finding out I was with him, because we would sometimes stay up till like 5, 6 after school and hang out. And, like, you know, even my family started getting suspicious, you know. I had to keep saying, like, I was in the library studying, or, you know, after school activity or whatever. And I had to be picked up in the parking lot, and I would actually walk out of the hotel, go travel around the school, and all the way walk to the library and make it look like I came out of there, so that I wouldn't be suspicious, you know. That I was, like, literally planning, like, I literally printed, like, the school map, and I was like, okay, how am I going to plan this escapade again and go around the buses so the bus driver wouldn't see me. Like, y'all, I did the most, like, as usual. Plotting like Yzma the villain. So, yeah, that didn't last long. And of course, rumor spreads fast in high school, especially when you're that young. Besides school, there's boring, you know, there's nothing much to talk about or do. So you just create drama, start drama, spread drama. And I think that's how the cycle started, hanging out with people like that, with mental health issues since the start, kind of planted the seed in my mind. And it's like, it was very difficult to reverse that growing up, you know, because when you hang around people for 4 years, it's very hard to stop acting like them. So, it took a long time to figure out my own personality and stuff. I was kind of usually I was imitating what others were doing, but acting most of my way through things. What was I going to say? So, yeah, you know how you tell one friend one thing that happened between you two, and all of a sudden, like 10 people heard about it, and then he hears about it, and now he thinks of me some kind of way because I just told her, and he thinks now I told everyone, but I really told that one person who was a fake friend who ended up telling other people. So, in finding out the phone line of who told who was challenging, and having to deal with that drama, going locker to locker, passing notes, passing them in the hall, asking them, texting them, calling them, meeting my class, trying to figure out the link, who started the rumor first. And you never got a direct answer, and it was a pain in the butt, And because, I was that kind of person. Like, if you did me wrong, you're no longer my friend. I will cut you off, Nope, game's there. I have the world's biggest pair of scissors. Like, snip. So things started going sour right then and there. And I thought to myself, after a few days, maybe I should keep to myself about our quote-unquote relationship. Now he was telling me he's straight and he wants to see women. And he's moving within a month to God knows where. The shock and look of appall on my face as he told me that. And he was like stone cold with me. So, like, he was so depressed. Like, he just felt such guilt for everything that happened. He didn't think he was really who he was because he was so young and still trying to figure his stuff out. And he literally straight up told me, we can't do this anymore. We can't see each other. I can't talk to you in the halls anymore. We have to separate from each other. I was like I broke down crying several times during the day. It was the darkest hour. Okay. And, I kept trying to tell my other friends, and they were all like, it'll be okay. You'll find someone else. No, but I just didn't believe it. I was like, is something wrong with me? Did I do something wrong? Maybe he doesn't like me because of this. Maybe I did something. Maybe I said something. That cycle, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be loved. I should be shamed. And then I ended up telling my long distance partner at the time that what I did. He broke up with me. Then we got back together. Now let me tell you about that long distance partner. Okay, let's do this. Where's my drink? So Johnny moved and it was over, okay? Funny story, years later, one of my other friends, who was still friends with him, still followed him on Facebook and showed me updated pictures of him, and I got to be attracted to him then. I was like, wow, he did a complete glow up. And it turns out he was bisexual, so it was he was suppressing feelings all along, and all along he was attracted to girls, but he didn't know it was both, So it was kind of beautiful to see the evolution. And, I spoke to him briefly. I wished him well. I was like, hey, how's it going? But things ended short. We didn't talk long, and I was like, we moved on with our lives. But, each one of us is on this planet to make other people realize things. And if I was there at the time to make them realize that, then I did my job here. Okay, so anyway, moving on. That guy that was long distance, so I had been with him 2 years, and he was the first guy, admittedly, to ever make my heart pump and make me realize who I was. And my heart still goes out to him because we don't talk anymore. I think he watches these videos still after all these years. He was following my old accounts too. KK Tony J, Tony 913, 94. Yeah, we go way back. And he has seen me grown so much, and from doing these stupid vlogs in my basement to, yeah, so he had tried reaching out to me up until a year or two ago. Yeah, that long. And like 9 years he tried, I think, and it didn't. Last time I talked to him, I was like 17, just starting my ASMR channel. That was the last time. And we Skyped and stuff, but like we were still good friends and connecting and stuff. But you know, we mostly would play World of Warcraft together, and we like, I mean, at the time, secretly wanted to propose to each other. Like literally, we were just head over heels. No, I wasn't, again, that physically attracted to him, but like some things he would say to me or say about me or talk about, like the way we connected meant more to me than the physical attraction. So I would still be with him because of that. He was much older, but not that much, but I think like 4 years. I don't know. But yeah, it just didn't end up working out because I wasn't feeling it. I was like, I can't like lie to myself and say I'm going to be with this person for the rest of my life. So I remember one night, like it was so random. Like I kid you not. Like if any of you play WoW, you know Stormwind City, the Stormwind Stockades, the first dungeon by like Burning Crusade expansion, around that era. I randomly saw him just standing on the street, and I think I reached out, or he reached out and whispered to me like, hey, do you need help with this dungeon? And that's how things started. And then about 6 months down the line, a year later, of talking and sharing each other's phone and, you know, interacting, Skype, whatever, like sometimes we would talk on the phone every night, you know, after school. It was cool. I looked forward to doing that, texting him, you know. He was from Ohio. I was still around Chicago at the time, Chicago suburbs. And, you know, I wasn't still comfortable. I was sharing with my family still, like, it was my friend, you know, nothing more. They didn't need to know too much. But, yeah, I couldn't stop talking about him with my friends. Oh, gosh, I was literally head over heels. And, because it was my first one, you know. We never got to meet. And, you know, I personally felt a little bit of guilt for what I did with Johnny when I was still with him at the time. And I literally like begged him to come back, and he accepted. But yeah, I remember one day he took me to Westfall in the game, and then that's when he like admitted like who he was, and I was like, oh my God, I think I am too. And yeah, so, and then we started dating since then, and things finally ended when I was like 16. And I just said, like, I just can't do this anymore. I have not seen you in 2 years. It's killing me. Like, I was planning so many days to go take an Amtrak train just to go see him, like, in secret. Like, I didn't even have $100 to my name to get the ticket, but I just wanted to. And one day, like, I got this huge fight with my family, and I was burning up. Like, I was sick with a slight fever, okay? And they had left to go to this party, and we got in this huge fight because I didn't want to go because I was sick. And they were like, oh my God, why aren't you coming? And they didn't understand how sick I felt. They thought it was an excuse, but I was actually sick. So we got into such a conflicting argument, and then they left. I got so mad. I packed my things in a backpack, got my bike. Even though I was burning up, I drove my bike 10 miles in 50 minutes all the way to my friend's house, who we were kind of getting to know each other in a way, you know. He was kind of flirty with me, but I didn't want anything to do with him because it's funny how it links. It's very funny because that guy is friends with the friend of Johnny, and he was from another school, and we ended up meeting up because she gave him my phone number because she thought, now that Johnny's no longer here, she felt bad for me. She's like, hey, I'll hook you up with this other guy. He was like into animalism, whatever it's called, like dressing up as an animal. It was weird. Like, we just didn't get along. Okay. And so I ended up driving my bike to his house, and his mom was there, like, but she didn't care. She was like, oh, whatever, just casually rode my bike 10 miles to come, and she's like, oh, all right, you're welcome in my home, even though you're a complete stranger and I don't know you. So she left, and then I was telling him, look, the real reason I came, I got to take a train to that guy's house in Ohio ASAP. And he was like, what? And he was pretty disappointed because, he thought like we were going to have a thing together. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I actually am with someone. Sorry I didn't tell you. It was like a jerk thing. I was ready to leave. I called him on the phone. Hey, I'm on my way. I'm about to go on the train. No, he said, don't come. I'm broke. You're broke. This is not going to work out. I was just starting my YouTube thing. And like I was barely just scraping by. Like, I mean, I was still living with my parents at the time, so I didn't really need to scrape, but yeah, I wasn't making that much money at all. And I thought like, oh, this is going to be just enough for us. We're going to have a good life. We'll figure it out. I'll get a job if I need to. I was like pleading him and crying on the phone for a whole hour to come. And I was so anxiety ridden. I was so ready to come. And he said, don't. And I thank him to this day for just stopping me, because my life would have been a living hell had I ran away. Things wouldn't have been the same with me and my family had I come back even home, if they allowed me after doing that. So I said, okay. I said to the animal dude, after getting off the phone, I said, we need to hurry. You need to drive me back home because my parents are about to be home now, like in an hour. And I was like 20-minute drive away. Boom. Thank God his father just came home, picked us up in his truck. We drove as fast as we could and dropped me off just in the nick of time before my parents came home. Like literally I came home. By the time I unpacked, undressed, 5 minutes, they were home. Since the time I left home to the time I came back, that was a span of like, it must have been around 6 hours I was gone. So I was incredibly thankful they didn't find out me leaving, okay? And it was just not meant to be for me to go. So moving on, after things were over with that guy, I ended up dating another guy years down the line. Was actually, again, I don't know if this is true, allegedly a friend of Mitt Romney, okay? I don't know because, again, I never met this guy. We only dated long distance a couple of years. So he had shown me pictures with them. He had shown me pictures of him going with him on the campaign. Look, again, you don't know what to believe, right? Nowadays, anyone could lie and catfish you. But apparently it was true, and he was planning to run for president in 2025. I don't know. We'll see if that's true. But, he was all political and all big on that. So, I believed him to an extent. Innocent, young, gullible me. And he had like a wealthy family, and, he showed me all sorts of pictures of that. And so, again, I don't know. But he worked for the government, the federal government. And we would just strictly stick to like phone call or text. I'd never talked to him on camera because he was so self-conscious. Like he said, like, oh, I'm ugly, I'm fat, whatever. Like I didn't care. I was still slightly attracted to him, but not like entirely head over heels. But like the things he would say kind of drew me in. So I was attracted more to his stability. And he had his own place, and he was so young and, responsible. You know, he really liked me, and sometimes he would be paranoid and texting me like, "Are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me?" One time I did. Okay. I'm telling you, I was bad, okay? My history of relationships is I am not to be trusted, okay? That is a, like, warning right there. And I don't care. I'm, like, honest with that. Like, honestly, it's kind of messed up that I would be open to the idea of an open relationship, but, like, I'm not open and accepting if my partner chose to do the same. Which is kind of messed up. It's like, why? Like, it's super rare to find a partner who isn't open but allows you to be with others, you know? So that's why I'm like, I better be single. I better be alone. Okay. I'm obviously not meant for this. And so it was very difficult to confess that because I always had this false perception of who I was and what I really wanted. And when I finally admitted it to myself, like, the guilt went away. I was just like, this is who I am. I accept and love myself as I am. You know, I'm not to be trusted. I'm not suitable for a relationship, you know. Let's just stay friends and have fun sometimes, right? So, yeah, it was weird. Like, we met on this dating app, I think like OkCupid or something. And, like, this guy was the same as the World of Warcraft guy. Like, it took years to get him off my back. Like, he was messaging me, like, still wanting to be with me even years down the line. He knew about my YouTube channels too. Like, I think the last time he contacted me was on, like, Twitter in, like, 2017. Like, he was still, like, trying to reach out. I was like, oh my God, get off my butt, you know? But I kind of abruptly ended things after 2 years because I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, we never meet. You're always scared and paranoid that my parents are going to say something to you, or, like, you know, he was always self-conscious, lack of confidence, and, like, you are in a high-profile job and you have this much lack of confidence. Like, well, little old me has more confidence than you. Wait, what? How is that possible? Can I talk to Mitt Romney? You know, and this was at the time. Oh no, I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to give timelines, but so anyway, after that ended, I had, like, some little things in here and there, like secretly on other dating sites, meeting random dude, sneaking out from time to time, you know, trying to get to know someone, trying to secure my life before, you know, like, because if you're waiting a year or 2 years on someone, I'm like, taking too long, moving on with someone else, you know. And obviously that never worked out because it was like reaching for air, desperation, you know, not starting with the right intent, energy, people feel it. People are not dumb. I mean, okay, so I'm going to be looking at the door from time to time because I ordered some clothes online and I'm expecting the package any minute now. So hopefully I don't get seen talking to a camera. I don't care. They can know. I'll even be like, hey, it's Tony Bomboni. Go subscribe. So, yeah, it was pretty messed up. I mean, how many guys now? 3, right? The 4th one was still when I was in high school, and that was after Johnny. And before this political dude in Wisconsin. I mean, we were only like 100 miles apart, and he still didn't want to go drive see me. Like, it was crazy, incredibly crazy. So this guy, I'll call him Nate, and we were, again, like, inseparable just as much as Johnny since the start. And we had English class together, and I think one other class, I don't remember, social studies probably. And we would just always hang out, and, like, I mean, there were moments, like, one of us had to go to the bathroom, so did he, or vice versa. Like, we were that inseparable, you know? we always had to be close together, walking the hallway together, talking together. And I saw him a lot, right? And he almost got irritating because he wanted to, like, he was very attached. But again, he did like a 360 overnight, which makes me feel like, what did I do yet again to repeat this cycle? And for him to distance himself from me, right? What was I replaying in a pattern to someone else that made them do this to me? And I grew suspicious, and I started to dislike myself for the first time and be in a very dark place and start disliking other people. So I invited him over one day in secret. Nobody knew, nobody found out. And what was supposed to be a beautiful day and a good time ended in disaster. Someone was coming, and I had to think fast and put him in the closet. And he hated that. Ever since I did that one thing, he grew so sour and bitter with me. It's like, I guess he felt dehumanized but it was better than getting caught with him in the house, like, with no one knowing, So it's like, what else was I supposed to do, right? And he treated me like crap just because of that, and gave me so much slack for that. And I offered him food. I was like, you want this? And he's like, no, I didn't want that. No, I hate ketchup. Don't you know? Don't you remember? And he started getting so sassy with me. Ever since then, I was like, dude, we would have gotten in huge trouble for me bringing you over here all this way on our bicycles. Literally, we rode our bicycles all the way from his house to my house, miles, okay? And to sneak him all this way and bring him here. And he was just like, whatever, I want to go home. So he went all the way by himself home. I was like, what just happened? So then at school, I guess the next day or whatever, after the weekend was over, he told everyone he knew and more. And they told everyone they knew and more. It spread like a virus. Bad time to make that joke. But it was awful, right? And I've been through a lot, let's put it that way, when it comes to these guys, okay? So that's why I don't mess with them anymore. That's why I don't deal with them. Watch my last 3 story times. You can see the hot mess of what ensued, and that is just what I remember, or who I spent the most quality time with. These are not counting brief meetups and whatever with people, right? I could go on all day about that. So thank you very much for watching, Poopsies. So yeah, I haven't had the best experiences, but at least I learned and grew from them, and I know myself more than ever before. So any encounter with any guy was just not meant to be, because I simply was not meant to be with any one person. Thank you for watching.